The first light over the Nile. In the stillness before dawn, ancient Egypt begins to breathe. Homes made of mud brick, their walls cool and silent, hold families wrapped in linen cloth. The Nile's quiet flow is the only sound outside. People rise not with alarm, but with the slow brightening of the sky. A father rolls off his reed mat. A mother stretches, her spine aching from the hard floor. Children murmur, rubbing sleep from their eyes. The air is dry, the breeze soft. Doors open with a creak, and chickens scuttle past. There is no hurry. Just the quiet ritual of beginning. The day will be long, but for now it is slow, peaceful. The sun creeps above the horizon, casting gold on the river's surface. Time in ancient Egypt does not rush. It drips like the slow current of the Nile, unbothered by urgency. No buzzing phones, no alarms. Just sun, sand, and silence to carry the day forward. Morning routines, ancient style. Before food there is motion. A child is sent to gather water from a canal. A woman grinds wheat, muscles moving in a rhythm learned from her mother. The stone slab she uses is worn, smooth from years of use. Dust clouds rise with each stroke. A man sharpens a hoe, its edge dulled by earth. These actions are quiet but meaningful. They are not questioned, only done. Outside, goats bleat softly. Sand shifts under bare feet. In a nearby home, incense burns, perhaps to honor a household god or to keep insects away. The smell is faint, woody. Life is physical here. Time is not kept by clocks, but by the changing angle of the sun and the length of a shadow on a wall. There is no separation between life and labor. One flows into the other like water into clay. It's not dramatic, not glamorous, but it is steady, predictable, the kind of life that builds civilizations. A simple breakfast beneath the sun. Food is not indulgence, it is survival. A rough loaf of bread, often gritty with sand from stone-ground flour, is broken and passed around. A smear of fig jam if they are lucky. More often just bread. And beer, thick, cloudy, more like porridge than drink, fills the belly. Children chew slowly. Adults eat with their hands. There is little talk. Conversation is not a luxury of the morning. The sky brightens. Chickens peck at crumbs. A dog sleeps near the door. The home is dim, cool for now. Outside, the village hums. Not loudly. Just the sounds of people moving through routines. Breakfast ends without announcement. One by one they rise, brushing crumbs from their tunics. The day awaits, not eagerly but unavoidably. In ancient Egypt, the present is always heavier than the future. Life is lived moment to moment, not in plans but in patterns. Labor in the land of the pharaohs. Work is constant. A farmer walks to his plot near the Nile, tools slung over his shoulder. The earth is rich but stubborn. He digs, waters, checks for pests. A potter kneads clay, shaping it with fingers rough from years of practice. Sweat forms quickly. There is no shade. In the city, laborers haul stone under orders from overseers. They chant to stay in rhythm. No one works alone. Even small tasks, spinning thread, pressing oil, are shared. The body is a tool, used carefully but constantly. Children help when they can. They are not spared work. Life is a cycle of motion. There is pride in effort, but no reward beyond survival. And still they work. Not for ambition, not for glory, but because the sun has risen, and the Nile has not flooded today. Every swing of a tool, every movement of a limb, ties them to the land, the gods, and the people around them. The weight of the heat. By midday, heat wraps the land like a second skin. Walls radiate warmth. Sand burns underfoot. Even the animals move less. Workers pause beneath awnings or tree shade. Their breaths heavy. Water is sipped, not gulped. Food is touched, not eaten. Flies gather, bold in the heat. Some homes are quiet. Others buzz with voices reciting stories or prayers. Sweat collects in the curve of the back, beneath the arms. Yet rest is short. The sun does not wait, and neither do the tasks. Those who rest too long fall behind. So they rise, slowly, reluctantly, with shoulders slumped and faces shaded by cloth. The Nile glistens in the distance, a mirror of gold. But its beauty offers no relief. The day is only half done, and the work continues always. There is no escape from it, only endurance, carried forward by habit and necessity. Toil, dust, and the gods. The afternoon deepens. Fields are hoed again, animals fed. Firewood gathered for the evening meal. Dust clings to skin, enters the nose. I squint against the brightness. Some pause to offer thanks at small shrines, tiny altars with offerings of bread or a splash of beer. The gods are everywhere here. In wind, in stone, in water. But belief does not bring comfort. Brings duty. A man whispers to Osiris for good crops. A woman prays to Hathor for her child's safety. The gods are not forgiving. They are to be respected, feared, served. And so, amid all this labor there is also reverence. Quiet, habitual, like the work itself. Sunset is still far. But they can feel it coming, slow as it may be. Like the Nile, always just beyond reach. Just enough to hope for, never enough to rest upon. The approach of evening. As the sun begins to lower, shadows stretch across courtyards and fields. The air, once burning, now carries a slight breeze. It is not cool, but it is kinder. People begin to move slower, their steps measured by the toll of the day's labor. A woman carries a basket of vegetables, leeks, onions, maybe a few lentils. A boy returns from the well, arms sore from lifting. The smell of fires beginning to burn wafts through the alleys. It is the hour of small transitions. From toil to rest. From motion to stillness. Chickens are herded into coops. Tools are rinsed at the water's edge. Some men linger by the river, washing away dust, though never fully clean. Evening in ancient Egypt is not loud or bright. Does not announce itself. It simply arrives like the hush of a temple hall, calming all it touches. The communal meal. Dinner is no feast. It is humble. A pot of lentil stew simmers over flame. Bread again, perhaps a fresher loaf. Garlic crushed with herbs. A child peels dates slowly, savoring their sweetness. Family members sit close, sometimes on mats, sometimes on the ground. Plates are shared, passed by hand. There are no forks, no chairs. Just fingers, warm bread, and the comfort of proximity. They speak little, not from coldness but from tiredness. The day has stripped their voices to essentials. The fire crackles. Somewhere outside, a dog barks, distant and disinterested. Above them, the sky fades to a pale indigo. Stars not yet visible but expected. They finish the meal not with dessert, but with silence. It is not emptiness. It is fullness without noise. A pause that allows the night to enter gently. Fade of light. As dusk deepens, lamps are lit. Small clay bowls filled with oil, with a twisted bit of linen as wick. Their glow is faint, flickering. Enough to see a face, a bowl, a doorway. Nothing more. The children lie near the walls, whispering or humming to themselves. An elder tells a story, half remembered, half true, of a crocodile god who lived in the marshes. No one listens closely. It is not the story but the telling that matters. Insects hum outside. A breeze carries the scent of river and smoke. The heat has not left, only shifted. People sit or lie quietly. Bodies still, minds floating. In this hour thoughts soften. The world loses its edges. There are no tasks left. Only time passing gently like the Nile. The ritual of sleep. There are no pillows, only folded cloth. No mattresses, just woven mats. A mother tucks a child in with a palm frond fan. A father leans against the wall, eyes half closed. Sleep is not an escape, but a return. A daily passage into quiet. Doors are bolted softly. Lamps snuffed with a pinch. The room is dark now, but not lonely. The sounds of breathing fill the space. A neighbor coughs. Donkey brays. The Nile murmurs, just beyond the houses. The people of ancient Egypt do not dream of riches. They dream of water, of good harvests, of uneventful days. Sleep is sacred, not dramatic. A drifting, not a falling. A release, not a chase. The stars above watch in silence. And the world at last rests. Shadows and sacred boundaries. As darkness settles, it brings with it not just rest but caution. The night in ancient Egypt belongs to different forces. Spirits, jackals, and gods of shadow are said to wander after sunset. People close their doors tightly, not just for safety but for superstition. The outside becomes a world untamed. Temples, though silent, seem to hum under moonlight, their walls etched with warnings and prayers. Children are told not to speak the names of certain gods after dark. The threshold between the living and the divine feels thinner now. Even the breeze seems to whisper in languages no longer known. It is a time to be still. Time to listen. Not with ears, but with understanding passed through generations. No one ventures far. Not out of fear but out of respect. Night is sacred but not friendly. It must be endured gently, with humility, and never disturbed. Of walls and warnings. Every home bears quiet signs of caution. Amulets hung above doorways, symbols etched into clay, small offerings at thresholds. These are not decorations. They are boundaries. The ancient Egyptians believed the unseen world was never far. A wrong word, an overlooked ritual, might invite misfortune. Even in sleep one must be protected. A small statue of Bes, the household guardian, stands watch with his lion's face and dwarf body. Ugly by design to scare away evil. Mothers trace protective gestures over their children before bed. Fathers murmur prayers to ward off wandering spirits. It is not paranoia. It is tradition. Life, after all, was fragile. Disease, drought, or an offended deity could turn calm into calamity. And so, within walls barely taller than a man, people wrapped themselves not just in linen, but in layers of ancient care. There is peace in the night, yes, but only if it is earned through ritual, respect, and the right kind of silence. Dreams between worlds. Sleep in ancient Egypt was not only rest, it was passage. Dreams were taken seriously, not brushed off with morning light. They were messages, glimpses beyond the veil, sometimes sent by gods, sometimes by ancestors. A dream of a snake could mean protection or danger. A river might symbolize birth or loss. Priests trained in dream interpretation were consulted when visions lingered. Even ordinary villagers knew to pay attention. A woman might wake from a dream and offer bread to Thoth, hoping to understand its meaning. Children were taught early to listen to their dreams, and to speak them carefully. But not all dreams were shared. Some were kept secret, too strange or too heavy to speak aloud. For many, dreams were the only escape from hard days and hotter nights. They were the one place where a farmer might fly, or a weaver might speak with the gods. Dreams, like the Nile, flowed quietly through every life, shaping thoughts even as morning returned. Waking to the unknown. Morning returns not with haste, but with hesitance. The world stirs before it fully wakes. A rooster calls. A donkey shifts in its pen. Inside the home, a woman opens her eyes slowly, remembering the fragments of a dream she cannot quite hold. A man sits upright, glancing toward the door, unsure if what he felt in the night was real or imagined. There is always a moment, just before rising, where the line between sleep and waking blurs. In ancient Egypt, this moment was sacred. Some whispered a short prayer of gratitude. Others lay still, listening for the tone of the day in the sounds outside. The Nile remains quiet, steady. But in their hearts, people carry questions. About crops, about illness, about omens that may or may not come true. The unknown is never far. Yet they rise all the same. Not with answers but with routine. It is not bravery. It is acceptance. And in this acceptance, life quietly continues. The dust of the day begins again. With the return of light comes movement. The same motions, the same paths trodden again, as they have been for generations. A broom sweeps dust from the doorway, not to clear it fully, but to push it aside, make space for footsteps. The grindstone begins its song once more, rhythmic and patient. A man ties a worn sash around his waist, picks up his hoe without thought. There is comfort in this sameness. Life in ancient Egypt did not thrive on change. It found peace in predictability. The clay cups are rinsed. The goats are let out. Someone hums a tune passed down from a grandmother long buried near the reeds. Even the air seems to settle into familiar warmth. No one speaks of ambition. No one asks for more. They simply live, and in that simple living is something deeper than contentment. It is continuity. The dust will return. The work will tire. But for now, the day stretches forward like the Nile itself, slow, wide, and certain. Of sandals and silence. Before stepping outside, sandals are slipped on worn leather, softened by years of use. They do not protect from all things. Sharp stones still bite. Hot sand still burns. But they are enough. With each step, the day settles more firmly into place. A boy leads a donkey to the edge of the village. A woman carries linen strips to the washing stones near the river. Their paths cross, but words are few. In ancient Egypt, silence is not emptiness. It is space for thought, for presence. The world around them speaks louder than voices ever could. The rustle of papyrus, the lap of water, the sudden call of a heron. Even when walking together, people often say nothing. They have learned to live alongside the land, not over it. To hear it, not talk over it. Life does not demand explanation here. Demands attention. And so, with simple shoes and quiet minds, they move forward, neither fast nor slow, but in step with the sun. Washing along the Nile. At the water's edge. Daily tasks meet ritual. A woman kneels beside a flat rock, dipping cloth into the Nile's murky current. The water is not clean by modern standards, but it is life. Sacred, eternal, flowing from the gods. Children splash nearby. Careful not to go too far. Everyone knows the stories. Crocodiles, hidden spirits, the river's own will. Still they come. They must. Clothes are scrubbed with sand and rinsed in silence. A man fills 2 jars, balancing them across his shoulders as he walks home. His footprints disappear almost as soon as they're made. The sun reflects sharply off the surface, and the breeze carries the scent of wet earth and reeds. No one stays long. The Nile is not a place to linger. It is to be respected, approached with care. And once the task is done, they step back. Feet wet, arms sore, hearts quiet. It is not just laundry or water fetching. It is communion with something older than memory. The market without rush. Markets in ancient Egypt do not shout. There is no frantic bargaining, no loud haggling. Just rows of baskets. Onions, garlic, dried fish, woven mats, and clay pots, arranged beneath palm frond shelters. Sellers sit quietly, fanning themselves. Buyers pass through slowly, inspecting goods with practiced eyes. A few words are exchanged, soft and measured. A woman offers a pinch of salt for a handful of dates. A man considers a chipped jar, turns it in his hands, and nods. There are no coins. Barter rules the market. Fairness is not a performance, but a rhythm. Children trail behind parents, wide-eyed, yet hushed by the heat. Flies buzz lazily over the food. The scent of cumin and dried herbs lingers in the air. This is not a place of excitement. It is necessity wrapped in routine. When business is done, people leave the way they came. Quietly, slowly, beneath a sky that does not care whether they've gained or lost. Homebound in the haze. As the market fades behind them, people return to their homes under a sun that still burns high. The walk is slow. Baskets hang from shoulders, their weight familiar. Sand sticks to ankles. The village seems unchanged. Same walls, same shadows. Yet each return is a small relief. A dog lifts its head, then settles again. Chickens scurry from the path. A man greets a neighbor with a nod, nothing more. In ancient Egypt, greetings are gestures, not words. At the doorway, sandals are tapped against stone. Dust falls off like the memory of the outside world. Inside it is dimmer, cooler. Place to exhale. Someone stirs a pot over a low fire. A child hums to herself while mending a torn hem. The outside is harsh, but the home offers quiet, not comfort as we know it, but a stillness that holds. In this space, the day's demands pause, just long enough to gather strength for the hours yet to come. Midday lull and the stillness within. The hottest hours demand retreat. Doors stay closed. Voices drop to whispers. Even the animals know to rest. A clay jar of water sits in the corner, its surface cool to the touch. A woman fans herself with woven reeds. A man lies flat on a mat, eyes closed but not asleep. The silence is not empty. It is full of small sounds. The creak of drying wood. The buzz of a lone fly. The breath of a sleeping child. This is not leisure as we think of it. It is survival. The sun is too strong, the air too dry. Movement is minimal. Minds wander slowly, toward memories, toward worries, toward nothing in particular. No one is idle, but no one rushes. In ancient Egypt, the world teaches patience. The heat insists upon it. So they wait, not watching the time, but feeling it pass in waves of warmth and shadow. The lull is not waste. It is rhythm. It is the breath between the labor. The quiet return of motion. As the sun lowers, life resumes. Carefully, slowly. A child rises first, stretching limbs stiff from rest. Pot is stirred. The smell of lentils thickens the air. The day's second rhythm begins. It is not urgent, but it is steady. A man steps outside to check his tools, worn and dusty but dependable. A woman slices garlic, the sound crisp in the hush. Even in motion, everything remains subdued. The village wakes not with noise, but with presence. Chickens begin to peck again. A goat bleats, soft and persistent. The shadows have lengthened, offering narrow paths of comfort. The heat still lingers, but it has lost its edge. In this part of the day, people do not chase goals. They tend to necessities. A reed basket is mended. A cracked bowl is patched with clay. It is in these tasks, unremarkable, unchanging, that ancient Egypt finds its strength. Quiet, slow, and enduring like the river that never stops. Lessons without a classroom. Education in ancient Egypt does not come from books or desks. Comes from watching, imitating, repeating. A boy sits beside his father, studying the motion of tying rope, the grip of the hand, the patience in the fingers. A girl follows her mother, learning to measure grain, to judge ripeness by scent, to stir a pot without spilling. There is no bell to mark a lesson's start, no test to prove it happened. Knowledge lives in muscle, in memory, in the repetition of tasks passed down for generations. A scribe's child, perhaps, learns differently, scratching symbols into clay or papyrus, copying the curved lines of sacred words. But most children learn from life itself. They are not taught to dream beyond the village, only to live within it, usefully, respectfully, completely. In the still afternoon light, the greatest lessons are quiet. Not spoken, not planned. Just live. The scribe's corner. In a shaded nook near the temple, a scribe bends over a scroll. His reed pen, dipped in ink made of soot and gum, moves in careful strokes. Hieroglyphs unfold, tiny birds' eyes and curved lines arranged in deliberate order. It is not art for beauty's sake. It is record-keeping. Lists of grain, prayers to the gods, names of those who have paid their dues. The scribe's hands are steady, his breath even. He does not rush. Precision is the only speed allowed. Nearby, a boy watches in silence, learning not by instruction but by presence. To write in ancient Egypt is to hold power, not of wealth but of memory. Words here are sacred. They are the voices of gods, the rules of life, the stories of the dead. And yet, in this quiet moment, the scribe is just a man working in the shade. His scroll curls at the edges. His ink dries too quickly. The day hums on around him, but he stays still, preserving the world one word at a time. Sacred sounds of the temple. Near the edge of the village, a temple rises, stone against sun, weathered yet still proud. It is not grand by modern standards, but it carries weight. Inside, the air is cooler, thick with incense and silence. A priest walks slowly, barefoot, robes brushing the floor. His chant is soft, almost a whisper, in a language older than memory. The gods here are not distant. They are present in every offering, every echo off the stone walls. A bowl of dates is placed near a statue. A trickle of oil is poured in reverence. No one claps, no crowd gathers. Worship is private, constant, and woven into daily life. Outside, life continues. Goats bleating, children laughing, but inside, time pauses. The temple is a heart that beats without sound. Place where fear, hope, and habit meet. And in the rhythm of that quiet chant, the village finds a center, a stillness that helps hold all things together. Shadows of belief. As dusk stretches longer across the land, belief follows quietly behind every step. Superstition lives not in dramatic rituals, but in gentle habits. Placing a bowl of water outside the door to ward off spirits, tucking a carved amulet beneath a sleeping child's blanket. These actions are not questioned. They are part of the air like dust and sun. A woman traces a scarab beetle etched into stone, whispering a prayer for protection. A man hesitates before crossing the threshold of a house where illness lingers. Fear in ancient Egypt does not scream. It murmurs. Soft warnings pass through generations. The gods are many, and each is watching. Not with warmth, but with expectation. Even dreams are seen as signs. A strange one might send someone to the temple the next day, offering honey or herbs to appease what cannot be understood. Life here is ruled not by certainty, but by careful respect, for the seen and the unseen alike. A village wrapped in dust and memory. As evening deepens, the village feels smaller, closer. Dust hangs in the air like memory. Soft, fine, impossible to fully shake away. Homes are quiet now, their open doorways glowing with the dim light of oil lamps. The sounds are few. A murmur between neighbors, a cough, the rustle of woven cloth. A boy sweeps the threshold of his home, not because it is dirty, but because his father once did the same. A girl arranges clay jars along the wall, their positions unchanged for years. These are not chores. They are rhythms of belonging. Even the way one sits, cross-legged on a mat, back to the wall, is inherited. There are no monuments in this part of Egypt. No gold, no tombs. Just repetition and the gentle persistence of living the way others have lived before. In this dust there is history not written but felt, not remembered but repeated. Night's watchful creatures. As the sky deepens into ink, the village does not sleep all at once. Some stir quietly, keeping watch in the shadows. A father checks the door latch, its wooden peg pressed firmly in place. A mother listens for the soft breath of her children. Outside, creatures of the night begin their movements. Jackals call from a distance, sharp, short howls that echo across sand. A scarab crawls across a threshold, unnoticed but not unwelcome. In ancient Egypt, night is not feared, but it is respected. The world shifts when the sun is gone. Spirits are thought to wander. The gods of the dark have names, too. Selket, watcher of venom. Thoth, guardian of wisdom and moonlight. The stars shine cold and clear, offering their patterns to those who know how to read them. But for most, the night is for stillness. A time to remain low, quiet, and observant. Because here even silence has eyes. Dreams beneath the papyrus roof. Beneath roofs woven of palm and papyrus, sleep returns slowly. It is never sudden in ancient Egypt, only earned after the body has stilled, after the last ember fades. Children breathe in soft rhythms, curled beside siblings, wrapped in linen. A woman shifts slightly, her hands tucked under her cheek. The man beside her murmurs something half-dreamed, half-remembered. Outside, the wind carries the scent of river and ash. In sleep, people do not escape their world. They drift gently within it. Dreams are believed to carry messages from gods or echoes of the day's emotions. Some dream of open fields, of rain that never falls. Others see jackals or shining boats upon endless water. But no one speaks of dreams until morning. For now they are sacred, private as the pulse of one's own heart. The village rests, not in silence, but in softness, wrapped not in blankets, but in the rhythm of breath and the hush of stars. The quiet before the call. In the final hours before dawn, the world holds its breath. The fire pits have cooled to ash. The lamps have long since gone out. Even the insects hum more softly now, as if lulled by the deep rhythm of night. In one home, a child stirs but does not wake. His fingers twitch in a dream of climbing trees or chasing goats. A mother's hand rests gently on her belly, where another child grows unseen. These moments, suspended in darkness, are the most peaceful of the day. Outside, the Nile flows, its waters thick with moonlight. Somewhere, a heron lifts its wings and settles again. There is no call to prayer, no rooster crowing yet. Only the hush before return. Soon the world will wake again, slowly with the creak of doors and the crunch of sand underfoot. But for now the hush holds. Time itself pauses. The breath of Egypt, steady, ancient and unseen, moves softly through the still air. Another day, the same eternal flow. And then, without ceremony, morning returns. The sky shifts from deep blue to pale gold. A breeze rises, light as a whisper, brushing against mud brick walls. One by one people stir. Cough. Yawn. A rustle of linen. Life resumes, not in leaps, but in steady footsteps. The Nile glows softly again, mirroring the slow unfurling of the day. A woman steps outside, stretches, and feels the same sun her ancestors once greeted. Nothing has changed, and that is the comfort. In ancient Egypt, days are not unique but eternal. Time is a circle, not a line. Each sunrise ties to the next, like woven threads in a mat. No fanfare, no haste. Just the return of motion, the ritual of survival, and the quiet dignity of living another day. In this still rhythm there is peace. And in the hum of ordinary lives, history sleeps with its eyes half open, always watching, always waiting.